Good afternoon, Monarch fans, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk with Rags here in Season 3, Episode 95. And today, when we have someone associated with ODU Athletics here on Sports Talk with Rags, we call our episodes Monarch Mondays here on Sports Talk with Rags. And today, here we have current ODU Monarch baseball pitcher Aiden Kuhle. Aiden,
Yes,
how you
sir.
doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Rags?
Hey, I'm doing great and appreciate your time here to share your baseball story here with growing up in Virginia Beach and getting the opportunity here to work on your master's and finish out the collegiate career back here in the 757.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice after going out to Roanoke, coming back to the 757 where I grew up. I mean, I've told you stay in college as long as possible because that's the best time of your life. So that's my goal. Uh,
Yes, and I know that Elizabeth and I don't have any kids, but yes, take that advice because even when it's time to hang up the cleats, you have nothing but the rest of your adult life to work. So definitely
exactly.
enjoy being a student athlete in college.
Exactly. Especially getting an MBA. A lot of these guys are getting their MBA or older, and they have a lot more less free time than I do. Even though I'm playing Division I baseball,
Right,
they're all getting full time jobs and all this. So all my classes are like night classes. So
right.
I actually have more free time than you'd realize. So I don't have to miss any practices or games, which is ideal.
Nice. Well, hey, so let's start at the beginning. Growing growing up, let's see. Did you play all sports or did you just stick to baseball there growing up?
So growing up, I have a younger brother that's 3 years younger than me. Both of us played basketball, baseball, soccer, football,
Mhm.
pretty much all those big four. Played a little, dabbled in hockey, but
Okay.
that's not huge in this area.
Right.
But so I played travel soccer till I was about 13, just
Okay.
because my dad was a high school soccer player. He was coaching me. That's
Right.
probably the reason I changed sports, to be honest. Uh,
Okay.
but I chose baseball just because my friends were playing it, and then
Right.
from there, I went right into travel ball. My second season, played for Team Elite, which was one of the
Okay.
local teams.
Right.
Got to play with a lot of talented players. I believe some went on to play at like Lynchburg or other ODAC schools, but
Nice.
um, yeah, baseball through and through since then. But
Yeah, and the thing is I know that my brother and I went to Western Branch, and we met you here through Connor Butler, and
mhm.
Connor and his older brother, played at Western Branch. But you growing up at in Virginia Beach, and then also had the opportunity to go and play for Cape Henry baseball.
Yeah, so I actually met Connor because I was a tie water driller for about 4 or 5 years, and Connor was on one of the older teams, and through him
Okay.
I met Kyle. But
Okay.
and then I was doing some showcase, some travel ball, like guest playing, and I played for actually one of Connor's tie water Orioles teams,
Oh yeah.
and they were, I mean, fantastic. They were real good. They had like Graham Firebed, him, Bree Harden, Cam Wallace, a lot of like the big name local guys. So
Right.
that was my first experience, like hanging out with Connor, and I thought he was one of the best second basemen I ever played with.
Oh,
Just in that, and then when I heard he went to Roanoke, I was
right.
surprised just because I was like, this kid almost won back-to-back state titles, like Division III,
Right.
and then from there, I went to Cape Henry. I was
Yeah.
always younger because I was a September grade or
Okay.
September birthday,
Yeah.
so I actually ended up reclassifying my freshman year,
Yeah.
and I did 5 years at Cape Henry, which really helped.
Okay.
Honestly, my fifth year, I played 5 years of varsity. My fifth year, I felt like I had everything under control. I
Right.
had a spectacular year. By that point, I chose to go to Roanoke
Right.
because, I mean, in this area, it's kind of strange because we don't have a lot of Division II or JUCO
Right.
opportunities.
Right.
So it's either D1 or D3, and people look down upon D3, but they don't realize that until they watch a D3 baseball game.
Right.
So,
Right. And well, let's stay at high school. I mean, because Cape Henry, not only state private school, but right here TCIS. I mean, battling with Greenbrier
yeah,
Christian, Norfolk Academy, Walsingham. I mean, and and then also playing for Tim Hummel, right? That's
Yeah.
a former Monarch. I mean, so definitely great, great baseball competition right here in the TCIS.
Yeah, one of the reasons I chose to transfer to Cape Henry for high school was because of that Tim Hummel. He had played in the big leagues. He was on Ken Griffey's team when he hit his 500th home run, which was his
Nice,
claim to fame. And
right,
then from there, I mean, he also had Coach Morrison, Coach Dodolo, Billy Mike Chadwick. I mean, those guys really developed me to be the person I was.
right,
And we had some big names on that team. Like my class originally was like Matt Balance, Virginia Tech commit, Hunter
right,
Ramirez, Liberty commit.
right,
Um, Ended up being like Kyle Edwards, Bryce Jones, both at Old Dominion with myself.
right.
And those guys kind of helped me progress as a baseball player and also
Yeah.
as a person.
Okay.
And I'm really thankful for that. But it is cool that Tim Hummel actually did go to Old Dominion. He's right on our left field wall. I get to see that every day, which is nice. Nice reminder.
Yeah, and probably a future guest here for Sports Talk with Rags.
Yeah.
Now that he's not coaching anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
Right, but yeah, and you go from Cape Henry now after the regular season is done for the TCIS, you have conference tournaments, and then you go into the state tournament. Did you guys with being Cape Henry, did you guys make it there to Shepherd Stadium where they host the different classes of state semis and finals?
Yeah. So my sophomore year, we lost to Greenbrier Christian in the conference championship. That's when they
Okay.
had Harry Brown and all
Right.
that stacked lineup. I think, like Connor Clark, I believe.
Right. Okay.
But uh, through that, we went to the state tournament and we played Paul VI,
Yeah.
beat them in the first round. Will Salva was on that team, which is one of my teammates at Roanoke College. And we beat them 2-1, I believe, and then went
Yeah.
on to play Benedictine, which
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard of. We
Right.
ended up, we ended up losing to them 4-3 in the semifinals, and then they went on to blow somebody out in the championship. But then my senior year, that was the great year I had. I pitched in the I pitched in the first round of the conference tournament. We lost the second round, and
Oh,
then in the state tournament, I pitched in the first round of the state tournament at
right.
Bishop O'Connell
Yeah.
against the Virginia Tech kid. They had some big Virginia Tech commit, and we beat them 1-0 through 7 innings, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And then we played that Benedictine team. Alex Marcus actually started,
Oh, okay.
but they had so many big time commits. That was probably the best team I'd ever seen, high school team. And we lost to them. We were winning in the fifth inning, and I think they put up like a 12 spot in one inning. That's how good that offense was.
Okay.
But we lost that year, and they went on to win it that year as well. But those were the two experiences I had. Mhm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and you bring up Alex, you bring up Will. We
Mhm.
already talked about CB. So, here's a couple of guys that you played against, and then with CB played, a couple times there showcase ball, and then you reconnect here with those three guys as now part of your team with being part of Maroon baseball there at Roanoke College.
Yeah. So one of my first jobs actually was at a baseball store, Grand Slam in Virginia Beach, and
Okay.
that's where I met Tanner James.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, man, like I heard you're going to Roanoke. Like, please feel free to come stay with us." So went and stayed on the overnight with Connor and Tanner,
Oh
and
cool.
I mean, immediately became best friends with those two guys.
Right.
But I mean, Roanoke College have nothing but good things to say about the place.
Right. Right. And definitely great academic school, but like I've talked it over with CB when he came on a few months ago. I mean, playing in the ODAC is definitely, tough competition, and getting the opportunity for Roanoke's home field to be at a minor league stadium that's affiliated with the Boston Red Sox. Definitely, great competition playing in the ODAC, and awesome experience on where y'all's home field was at.
Yeah, I love Salem Memorial. That was my favorite place to play at. I mean, it would be a hassle sometimes just because we had to deal with the Red Sox coming back. But I think everyone in the ODAC could say that their favorite place to play was at Roanoke's Ballpark. And I mean, I love the field. Having to get to practice there every day, having the sound kind of blast off the wall out there in the outfield. That was awesome. And then the ODAC. I mean, my freshman year, that was COVID year,
Yeah.
and our opening weekend was against this Hampton Sydney team that we didn't hear. Like we were like Hampton Sydney, like we didn't have any big names, didn't have any like guys get drafted recently, and then they just blew us out of the water. And we faced some Mayberry, and I think he
Right.
went on to be like the leaders in ODAC and strikeouts. I was like, this is D3 ball, all right.
Right.
It's throwing 93 miles an hour with a good slider. But I think then now seeing some of the names like Colin Selby for the Pirates, he's a Randolph Macon guy who's in the majors.
Right.
I saw that Pilarski was playing for minor leagues up north somewhere, and he hit 100 miles per hour. I mean, just seeing guys get developed after ODAC and
Yeah.
seeing what they can do is just awesome.
Right. And Elizabeth and I, with following you guys with CB playing, I mean, we'll never forget the last time that we were at Lynchburg. So I guess, last year was y'all's senior year. So I guess it was y'all's junior year. And Lynchburg bringing, lacrosse players, other student athletes sitting on the visitor side, and just the nature of college baseball going on the road, just the heckling,
Yeah.
with you guys being the road team, and definitely a rivalry with Roanoke and Lynchburg not being that far from each other.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's no easy place to play in the ODAC really. Even
Right.
some of the schools like Washington and Lee, they'll give you a fight, and then the fans are just ruthless. But
Okay.
Lynchburg, I mean, I just remember the lacrosse team just like chirping everyone. They'd go do social media dives to find out like your deepest, darkest secrets. Uh, as much as I hated playing against Lynchburg and whooping up on them, I mean, it's kind of cool that one of their big names, Brandon Pond, is actually my roommate
Yeah.
now. So there's kind of bit of love for him there,
Right.
love-hate relationship. But I mean, playing against Lynchburg, I mean, they were never an easy fight. I mean, they won the national championship last year, the World Series.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, even Randolph Macon, especially, you go there. I mean, that's one of the nicest fields in Division III, I think.
Right.
And those guys were just so scrappy. It's just, I mean, you walk a guy, next thing you know, the fans are just not letting you hear the end of it. It's terrible.
Right. Yeah, and the thing that you bring up with Randolph Macon, I think it was that same year, you guys go to Randolph Macon in the regular season, and lose some tough games. But then when it came to the conference tournament, you guys get matched up with Randolph Macon and back at Randolph Macon. But I know everybody likes to win, but the tough losses in the regular season, it was definitely nice to leave Randolph Macon the second time that season there in the conference playoffs, and you guys being able to knock out Randolph Macon at their place and go down to High Point there for the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, playoff baseball, the hot team's going to win.
Right.
And then at that point, getting Caleb Lingenfelter back in the rotation, I mean,
Yeah.
he's just that kind of player that you need on your team. And
Right.
him going out game one of that tournament against Randolph Macon and going, I believe, 8 1/3,
Right.
throwing 92, 94. I
Right.
mean, no team is going to beat that in Division III, really, especially when your other stuff is that good. Winning game one, I think it was 10 innings or 11 innings. That
Right.
was huge. We got a couple double play balls. Ryan Cloud was on the mound.
Yeah.
And then after kind of solidifying that first game one win, knowing Will Turner was going to go out there and throw his sliders, just 120 of them,
Right.
probably go all game.
Right.
Uh, it just, I mean, you just see teams go up there and be like, it's slow, just sit back, drive to the right side. and then you're late on 81-mile-an-hour fastball. It
Right.
just demoralizes the whole team, which is awesome to see every time. I think he might have thrown a complete game that game,
Right.
but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and and then also, I mean, in your summertime, yes, you guys were disciplined enough to, work out and keep with you being a pitcher, go through, your workouts, go through your throwing, but then also you had the opportunity there to go play summer baseball. Didn't one summer you went down to Georgia, there in the coastal plains.
Yeah, so the big thing about D3 is a lot of stuff you do, you set up on your own.
Yeah,
So that's one thing I took advantage of. I think every college baseball player should live in a host family and play summer ball at least one summer, just because that opportunity you're just never going to forget.
right.
And my sophomore year, I went down and played in Edenton, North Carolina.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
did that for 2.5 months. I lived with Randolph-Macon baseball player Hunter Cole,
Okay.
and we played in the North Carolina League. It was, I believe, the PCL. We played against all the CPL teams as well.
Oh,
And
okay.
I mean, that was awesome. And then the next year, I got an opportunity to play down in the CPL for the Macon Bacon,
Right.
which I got to pitch at Savannah at the Savannah Banana Stadium,
Oh,
which was
cool.
awesome. I mean, there was like 7,500 fans there. It's like the minor league life. I mean, you're traveling 3-4 hours for every game. You got stands just filled with people, and like Friday nights they have promotions. They're yelling at all the players.
Right.
But summer ball was definitely a great time.
Yeah, and even that's right. I forgot that Edenton moved on to another league, but
Yeah,
I mean, even right there at Hicks Field and the tradition of Steamers baseball,
yeah.
and then Hunter Cole. I mean, just you bring up Pond, you bring up Cole during the regular season. You wanted to beat them, but then future, you end up being teammates with those guys.
That is pretty cool. We have another guy, Jay Cassidy, as well, who's a CNU alum,
Oh,
and
okay.
he was their ace for the whole time he was there, all 3 years, I believe. And he went on to win. I think he was CPL Pitcher of the Year for the Pilots 2 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
having all these experienced guys from different places definitely helps. It's not just the JUCO transfers we have, but those
Right,
D3 guys we got. I
right.
mean, I'm excited to see what we do this spring.
Yeah, and then y'all's senior year. I mean, you guys, didn't match up against Randolph Macon there in the opening round. Actually, you guys got to host, but you took care of your opponent even with moving to a different stadium. Since the Salem Red Sox were in town, but you guys won the first round, and then the Final Four last year was at University of Richmond, and so just to go against Lynchburg, Shenandoah, Randolph Macon, and Roanoke there for the battle of the ODAC championship. I mean, with the crowd, the caliber of baseball. I mean, that was a great weekend there last year.
Yeah, with Caleb Lingenfelter going down in the middle of the year, our ace going down, I mean, that's hard to kind of recover from, because then
Right,
our midweek guy, Jackson Murphy, had to go and pitch game twos, which he's a great pitcher. He's going to do well these next 2 years at Roanoke or wherever else he goes.
right,
But from there, we kind of had to fill that huge hole.
right.
But against Randolph Macon, I think he had 12 Ks in both of his appearances in those 2 games,
Yeah.
which was awesome just to beat them just outright 3 times in a row by a total of like 30 runs, which was
Right.
sick.
Right.
But then having to play against Washington Lee opening round after graduation the same day,
Right.
I mean that was not ideal. And then playing at a middle school, I mean Washington Lee was so upset about that. They were complaining. I'm sure they wouldn't have complained if they won, but
Right.
we kind of handled business in those 2 games, beat them pretty easily. I mean, that was a tough team, but we handled them. We played well defensively and really hit the ball around the field and pitched well. We got a decent amount of strikeouts in big spots. And then going on to University of Richmond, it's an
Yeah.
awesome field. That was cool. They just got that brand new batting facility out on the third baseline, which is pretty neat.
Right.
Um, Playing first game against Shenandoah is never easy. I feel like those hitters have been there for at least 10 years. I mean, these
Right.
guys, they all have at least 200 hits under their belt. But those guys are never easy. I think that's the best lineup we faced in our conference, if not in the country, maybe behind Johns Hopkins. But those guys, I mean, they beat us that first game. We didn't have our best day that opening day, and then handling right off Macon again, which was awesome as
Right.
always. I think we hit like 5 home runs that game. Connor always hits like one or two.
Right.
And then playing against Shenandoah again, I thought we pitched well. We played well. It's just they had a guy that we couldn't really hit. And I mean, that's what it comes down to is the hot hand that Shenandoah had.
Yeah, and going back to the home run derby there, I mean, no one can forget Owens dead center over the batter's eye and down down the hill. I think into more into campus there. That was a moonshot.
I mean, yeah, you watch the kids like rounding the cage, and you're like, oh, okay, he's got some holes in his swing until you get him on his front foot and front foot and he flicks the ball 500 feet. And you're just like, okay, never mind.
Right.
He catches the barrel. The ball is not staying in the ballpark.
Right, right, and then and then you get the opportunity. I mean, it's been all across college sports here with the pandemic in 2000 that a student athlete has the opportunity to continue on with their eligibility as they go work on their masters, but coming home and living in Norfolk and being part of Monarch baseball. And you guys have been practicing, and the regular season here is just around the corner here in mid-February.
Yeah, so I got accepted into the MBA program at ODU, and Coach Finney and then my Coach Marin as well.
Yeah.
They both gave me the opportunity to play at ODU, so I really couldn't turn that down with the track record of this baseball program. I mean, I couldn't say, I mean, I couldn't be happier with this program and everything I've encountered this fall and this spring thus far. We started individuals last week. We've done some workouts, and then we do like competitive bullpens right now. And then I believe we start inter squads next week because
Okay.
opening day is just 4 or 5 weeks away, right around the corner. We start with, I believe, we have like a homestand
Yeah.
against GW,
Yeah.
and then we go and play UVA. So right into it against UVA. Looking
Right.
forward to playing against these in-state teams, these big names that I really haven't gotten the opportunity to play against yet.
Yes, and I think looking at y'all's schedule, I mean the first 4 or 5 weeks is the weekends are
Yeah,
are at home, and like you said, throw in a midweek against UVA. I think you guys are even matched up with a midweek against East Carolina,
yeah, I
but
believe so.
a little family rivalry there in the middle of April. I think they're going on at the Bud when JMU comes.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, I've never had the opportunity to play against my brother. I wish we both weren't pitchers so we could face each other.
Right.
But I think he's going to pitch a lot. That's what he says. He's
Yeah.
gotten a lot better in the past year. He
Okay.
said the coaches like him, but I guess we got a ways to go. Both of us got to work our way into that Friday night role, I guess, so we
Right.
can duel off against each other.
Right.
But it's going to be weird just because I obviously I went Old Dominion to work up and whoop up on JMU, but can't root against my brother really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then they're at the end of the regular season. You guys have a midweek at Richmond, then go down. I think Atlanta there with Georgia State, and then finish off there with the conference tournament being in Alabama. So definitely there at the beginning of the season, a lot of home games, but then definitely at the end of the regular season, long, long road trip there with ending there with the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking most forward to, I think this spring is the travel, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Just seeing all these fields, like playing at Coastal Carolina,
Right.
at Louisiana, at Texas State. I've heard great things about these places and the new Marshall Stadium as well.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm looking forward to taking all that in
Yes.
and hopefully getting to pitch on those mounds and show the team what I'm made of. But uh, yeah, as well as the tournament, the conference tournament in Alabama. I think
Yeah.
last year they practiced at Auburn,
Oh,
so
wow.
getting to do that just because Finney used to coach there. So
Right.
having the opportunity to do that would be awesome. Just to see these big fields and play at UVA. I mean, that's
Right.
something I've been wanting to do since I was, I don't know, 11 years old. Gotten into baseball,
Right.
watching UVA play. We went to the Super Regionals this past year to watch UVA. The UVA Duke game, and I mean that
Okay.
new stadium they built is awesome. I mean, but with the rapport they've created, I mean, I would expect nothing less from them.
Right, and I think the way the schedule has worked for both Old Dominion and UVA, I think you guys do two trips up to Charlottesville throughout the season with that one there on the first Tuesday of the regular season, and then I think when UVA comes down here, I think it's the neutral site when you guys are the home team. I think it's a midweek there in April, and you guys host UVA there at Harbor Park. It should be a great season here of Monarch baseball.
Yeah, playing at Harbor Park is also something I've dreamed of. I mean, going to all those Tides games, watching all these prospects come in like Jackson Holiday, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson. I
Yeah,
mean, just watching them play in that field, it's so unique just because they have the harbor out there in right field, watching guys hit it in the harbor. I mean,
right.
getting to play on that field, I mean, I can't wait for that. But looking forward to this season of ODU baseball for sure.
Yes, and you bring up Jackson Holiday. I mean, since you were at Roanoke last year, he wasn't with Salem, but the Orioles affiliate played against Salem at the beginning of the season. So Jackson Holiday played against the Salem Red Sox, and then by the end of the season, the kid was all the way up to AAA here playing for the Tides.
Yeah, we actually went to that game. It was opening day. It was, I believe, the Shorebirds. I think the team was
That's right.
the
Yeah.
the rookie ball team, and then they
Right.
played against the Salem Red Sox. So our
Right.
team went and watched,
Oh, nice.
and I believe he went 2 for 4 with like a double and a single, and made like two errors. We're like, oh, this guy's a bust. He made an error. Next thing you know, a month later, he's hitting 400 with 10 bombs. We're like, okay, he's not going to be here for long. And then, but moving up that fast in the organization is, I mean, you don't see it, especially from a high school kid being
Right.
19 with a AAA team,
Yeah.
especially like how much more developed he could get. I mean, that's just scary to see. I'm like, I'm 3 years older than this kid. How am I supposed to compete with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Aiden, I appreciate your time, and Elizabeth and I will see you here at the Monarch Baseball Banquet. There, at the Priority Club there on January 19th, and go Monarchs here this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me on. Looking forward to that banquet, and I hope to see you at a lot of games.
All right. Yes. Well, hey, Monarch fans, that was Aiden Kuhle here with us today, and thanks again for your time, Aiden, and talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Rags. Have a good
All
one.
right. See you.